All right, quick little bit about the felts. You know, the way I saw it explained, come on, buddy, is that you soak them with all the alcohol there. We got some crap came out of there, as you can see. And then you squish them out, and then you do the whole thing again. So I'm going to put it down there, give it a little squish squish, and see what comes out of it. We can already see, yuck. So there's a part of what you're talking about. So back in it goes. Before I do that, let's do that other little one. Now we didn't do the front felt because I was trying really hard not to break that washer in the front like I did on the other fan. But these, I think part of their job, look at that. Part of their job is to collect the crap that runs around in the motor. You know, when you have, you guys probably already know all this stuff, but if you don't, the bearing surfaces both break down. There's particulate. That's why you have to have your oil changed in your car. So we're going to let them soak. We'll do this 3 or 4 times until they come out a little freaking cleaner than that, huh? So we're doing a little cleaning and lubing, oiling, before we start to put the motor together for the final time. I'm going to re-clean the rotor just to make sure it looks good. We have our U-felt and our rear felt, and we're going to put these in the glass and hit them with a whole bunch of oil. And I have the back plate here that has a bunch of stuff on the inside of it. So I'm going to clean off. I've already wiped it down once. I've put some WD-40 on it. So hopefully that comes out a little cleaner. We're going to put a whole bunch of oil on this stuff and move forward with testing the motor. Laid in some fresh Zoom spout. I never really thought I would go through a whole bottle of Zoom spout, but the fans keep piling up, so I've used a bunch of this stuff. I tend to overuse it a little bit when I'm oiling before I reinsert a motor. I tend to let it drop over, so I'm not being that careful about it. But I'm going to put a whole bunch in here and let this soak for a little while, so that we're pretty sure that these are just pretty well impregnated with the oil. So that's the plan on that. This rear felt is taking a lot of oil. However, when it gets packed back into the back of the motor, it takes up way less space. It's expanded a lot. So I'm not going to go bonkers on it. There's oil in the bottom of the cup, so it hasn't soaked up all the oil. I think that's pretty good. Again, cleaning the back of this plate, and as you can see, some stuff is definitely coming off of there. So I might, I'm not sure that it's rust, because I don't know if this is a ferrous material. It kind of looks like aluminum or something. So that means that this might be just what's left of that, some from the felt and from the oil. So I might hit it with the steel wool and see if any more of that comes off of there. All right, the back side of the plate came out quite a bit better, and now I'm just going to kind of tap it flat so that it's, you can see when I popped it, it misshaped, it bent quite a bit. So I'm going to pop it back into a more or less round but domed shape, so that it's a little more even all the way around. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to oil the motors 4 long ways felts. I'm just going to put some oil on them. They haven't been cleaned in any way. I've got the motor standing on a pill bottle so that it's not sitting on those windings, or rather protectors for the windings, whatever. And so I'm just going to put some oil on each of these. It might take more than one oil change to get this motor clean and free, because there's these, and then there's that felt on the front, and I just took the rotor back out and it wasn't that clean. So even though the bearing looks clean and the shaft looks clean, so it might take a few tries to really clean this fan out to get all what's left in here out of there. We're going to find out. The felts are pretty well soaked and impregnated, and then we stuff them back in here, so stay tuned for that. What the heck's he talking about? 4 long felts. Well, they go all the way down to the front of the bearing. That's part of how it cycles the oil back and forth. And rather have that be dry and soak up all the oil we just put into the C felt, we're just going to drop a little oil on here and it'll run its way down to the other side. Now, I don't want this thing leaking oil all over itself, so I'm not going to go totally bonkers on that. Just enough to really get it started. And there we go. Okay? And maybe I'll watch. I mean, we're going to see if it comes all the way through. On the last fair, that's how I did it. I waited until the other side of the felt looked wet with oil. So that's what I'm talking about. Hopefully you saw some of that. All right, we'll see. All right, how I like to do this is just drop a little oil down the shaft there so that it covers all the way around by dripping through. And I'm just going to check, make sure that it did that. So same with the rotor. Instead of oiling this way and getting a whole bunch of oil on the other end, I basically like to oil through there. I don't know if you could see, but I like to oil down into here onto the shaft and let it drip all the way through, and that way we know we have some good coverage. I'm going to do that now. Okay, now that it's all oiled up, we're ready to put the two together. Alright, now it's all together and we can start reassembling everything. We have, first goes the black washer, then the red, then the metal washer with the tooth, and then the C-clip, and you'll see all those go on in order. Alright, first goes the oily felt, second goes the black washer, third goes the reddish washer, fourth goes the tooth with the tooth facing out, and then the C-clip. Arguably going to be the hardest part, but we can get it going. There you go. Now it's in its groove, and there it goes. C-clip's in, and we're ready to rock. I'm going to take some of the extra oil off of here. I just want to be as careful as I can. I don't want to get oil all over the windings. That's the last thing you want to do. So next is the oil felt. Here it comes. All right, this might be overkill, but I'm a little clumsy. So here's our oil felt, and I've made a paper towel to help me try and keep the oil out of the windings there. And we just got to kind of pack this in around the rotor. And there it goes. A lot of extra oil. Clean up as you go. And it's on there. So now we're ready to pop the plate on. Alright, so this is the part we're not really sure if this is going to work, but we're going to try. The motor sits this way up and down, so I'm going to try to put the oil opening here. Not that I plan to oil it through this opening, but just that if there's a lot of oil in here, it doesn't drip out. That's what we're trying to sort of avoid. And actually, it's this one, this one, this one, this one. So this is actually the top. So I'm going to try to situate it so that it's like that, and then tap it in. Don't worry, I will mute the sound on this so that you don't go deaf at the sound of this. Going. And it's in. So that's more or less how you do that, and we're nice and free. So I'm going to wipe up any excess oil that I can, and we're going to put this back in the box. Back in the box, dude. All right, so it puts the lotion on the skin, or else it gets the hose again.